Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of the Educational AD. Our guest today is Steve McHale. Steve's a certified athletic administrator, and he's the director of athletics at Dr. Phillips High School in Orlando, Florida. Steve, welcome to the program.
Welcome, and it's an honor to be here and a privilege, especially during these trying times. And again, a privilege.
We appreciate you taking time for us. Well, as you know, the life of an athletic director is very busy, so we're going to jump right in. We always like to let our listeners hear a little bit about your background. So go ahead and tell us where you grew up, where you went to school and college, and how you got involved in sports.
Well, I guess we'll start from birth. I was born in New Orleans, raised in Louisiana for a short time with my family. Very strong roots, Cajun background, love food, love fishing, all that good stuff that comes with that. And moved to Fort Lauderdale during my grade school years, where I had the privilege of starting sports. Sports has always been a big part of my life. It's basically something that I had two older brothers that, if I wanted to play with them and not have to worry about coming home crying to mom and all that, I had to toughen up and learn how to play with the big boys. Through that time, again, fishing was a good part of my life. As you can probably see in the background, there's a nice fishing picture back there. When I'm not playing sports, I was usually fishing as a kid. Went to St. Thomas Aquinas High School in Fort Lauderdale when I was very, very fortunate enough to be a part of an incredible program. Four-sport athlete there. Enjoyed my times there as well. After that, didn't really know what I wanted to do in life. Had a strong passion for sports, but education was not my thing at the time. I just didn't see anything going on beyond that. So I went to the Marine Corps. It's almost like a joke. I was brought into a room, like the joke says, with a priest, head coach, father, and a recruiter from the Marine Corps. So you could say the joke was on me. After long times, and it was tough because I really wanted to play sports, especially football in college. I had offers and just not the right fit for me. So I was influenced to go into the Marine Corps. Got to spend some incredible time, probably the best decision I ever made in my life. Got to serve this country in the Gulf War. I have very close friends that I stay. We have reunions every year for the Marine Corps with our unit. Every year we meet up or at least talk to each other. We're like a family. And that's where I really got to know what life was really about and how to deal with a lot of things. Sports helped me with discipline and camaraderie and all that, but it was the Marine Corps and going to war and thinking, hey, this might not be your day, or it is your day, vice versa. Luckily, every day was my day, and I'm still here to talk about it. And from there on, still had the passion to play sports. Moved to Chicago, played semi-pro football in Chicago, where I really enjoyed myself because it was more for fun than it was for a job. But realized that I was not the young fit person that I was after getting out of the Marine Corps. And at that time, that's where I pretty much started my life in education.
Well, thank you for your service. First of all, truly appreciate that sacrifice. Well, you moved to Chicago. Okay, you're still playing sports. How did you get involved in educational athletics and the path to becoming an AD?
Basically, didn't have any backgrounds of job or anything because Marine Corps, all they did was shoot people. I don't want to put it like that, but that's what we're trained to do, to shoot. And I was a shooting instructor for many years in the Marine Corps. So that was not an option. So I was looking through the one ads and saw one ad to be a coach at a junior high school for football. I said, hey, I play football. I know football. I love football. So I did it and I started it. And I realized then, number one, what my coaches went through coaching me. I was like that kid you loved on game day, but during the week, not so much. So I learned the value of coaching and how it instills into kids and how it helps them, train them to be better people in society. And that started right there. I got the bug right away and got involved with a good coaching staff. Then unfortunately, I learned about cold too. Again, I was from the southern parts of the states, and it got negative 74 one time in Chicago, and I realized I missed the warm weather. So I moved to Fort Lauderdale just briefly, and then I moved to Orlando, where I started my education at University of Central Florida at the time, and got on with Colonial High School at that time, and was very fortunate. Dr. Van Mitchell helped me out a lot immensely, got on some good coaches, and then I transferred over to Edgewater High School, where my administrative role started real quickly. Got together with Dr. Mike Blazewicz, who was the principal, and with the athletic director, Gary Pitts. And they both saw something I didn't see in myself, was the administrative side of things. And, I enjoyed being there day to day with the kids, but they taught me the other side of the coin, where you get to learn about what happens in the backgrounds when sporting events and everything. And once I got the bug of seeing how you basically direct things from behind the scenes, opened my eyes to something even more valuable than anything I've ever done before.
Well, I know you had the opportunity to work in a couple of different settings in Orlando. What was that first, real administrative job that kind of catapulted you into your position at Dr. Phillips?
Well, several. I don't want to say there was just one key thing that got me here at Dr. Phillips. There were several. I'm basically what I call myself the Gaylord Perry of Orange County Public Schools. The fixer. I had a golden opportunity to go to several different schools to help either open them or start new programs. And when I got to Dr. Phillips High School, I first interviewed for an open position as the AD. Unfortunately, I did not get it, but I got to meet Russell Wombles, who was who became the AD at that time. And Russell called me the day or so after he was announced as the AD, and said, "Hey, Steve, I know that you interviewed for it. I didn't know him at the time, but I heard a lot of good things about you. I would love to see if you're interested in being an AD." We talked, I think, at 4 hours, that first conversation. And at that time, we hit it off. We knew we were cut from the same cloth. We had the same values and, some of the same likes and dislikes, which I gained a lot of appreciation. He saw things from a different aspect than I did, and it really helped at that time. He got me really involved with the FIAAA too at the time as much. 2001, when I first started with the FIAAA at Edgewater, I really was just a member. I was the school's designee, if you want to call it that. Gary Pitts was not into that stuff. He was more of a hands-on guy. So he made me that person to be the liaison for the FIAAA and go to conferences, where Russell brought me into the FIAAA and see what, again, the behind the scenes stuff, what it really takes to get things involved with the Florida High School Association and everything else as well. Then I went to a short time after Russell, 3 years with Russell as an assistant. I went to Ocoee High School as an AD there. And at that time, I was there for 2 years, thought I would never leave. But a unique situation came up where Russell got an opportunity to go back to his high school where he graduated from. So the position was at Dr. Phillips. And that time is when the principal approached me and asked if I would come back to Dr. Phillips High School. And it was hesitant at first, but really not. My wife graduated from Dr. Phillips High School, so I already had a vested interest in Dr. Phillips High School. It was the only school that was part of my family, so it was an easy transition. Plus, my youngest daughter had the opportunity to be part of a magnet program there in the theater program. So it was an easy transition for me to be close to my youngest daughter and also be the AD where my wife graduated from.
Okay. Well, and again, for our listeners, Dr. Phillips is considered one of those elite high schools and high school athletic programs in the state. So what are some of the challenges that you've had to deal with regarding COVID? And again, we understand that there's a different response across the country, and right now in Florida, there's different responses across the state. But what were some of the things that you did as the athletic director this spring when spring sports were canceled? And what are some of the things you're doing right now with summer conditioning and fall sports on the horizon?
One thing that I got to get to do is something that we're doing here, Zoom. And we got to get to, even though I teach it at the national level, dealing with technology within athletics and everything, we never really dove into it as much as we do now. We kind of use that as a tool occasionally, but now we use it as almost like a daily tool for talking to our players, talking to our coaches, educating them, trying to keep them up to date with things, training them, drills. So it's been a very helpful situation with that aspect of it. One of my biggest thing is always trying to maintain a positive atmosphere. I'm trying to, try to keep everybody's, eye in the big picture. Don't dwell on what's going on today. It's not going to make it better. But try to, learn from it and try to grow from whether it's being better hygiene. I think that's something that we can learn from this, is that as a society, we weren't as cleansy as we thought we were. So we just need to be more aware of our surroundings and cleaning up after ourselves. Something that we were taught when we were young, and we kind of just, okay, mom, I'll clean up, but I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do that. No, we got to do it now. It's a now. It's not tomorrow. It's now type atmosphere. So our players and our coaches and our parents, especially, are very, very open and helpful with trying to help us maintain that positive atmosphere. To know that there is an end to this, that it's going to be, we're going to have an opening day at one time. We're going to be playing sports again. We're going to be in school together. We're going to be socializing one together.
You've had a great opportunity in Florida, going to St. Thomas Aquinas, kind of a marquee program. You've worked at a number of schools in the Orlando area. What are some of the changes that you've seen during your time as an AD, or just even in athletics, going back to St. Thomas? What are some of the changes in the daily routine of an athletic director?
I can, talking about athletes, St. Thomas, I remember if George Smith, who was our head football coach at St. Thomas and our athletic director, that's a unique situation, especially in this day and age where there's a lot of rule, where then, he had the freedom to coach a sport of a major sport and also be the athletic director. Where today's day and age, especially in Orange County Public Schools, our day-to-day is so busy that we don't have the time to coach another sport, especially a major sport like football. You might be able to get away with maybe a smaller sport where there's not a day-to-day task on hand. But for the most part, I just remember, if you ever heard Coach Smith spoke, and if he called your name, it was kind of like your parents when they called you by your first, your middle, and your last name. You knew there was something going on, and it wasn't very positive. But I was very fortunate to do things, because back then we were allowed to do things as far as build buildings and getting part of the design part of it. And I did. I remember building a locker room at St. Thomas Aquinas High School when I was in high school. Today's day and age, you can't do that kind of stuff. You have to have a lot of code involved and a lot of rules and regulation, which I understand. But also the amount of time that you have to deal with today's day and age, with dealing with social networking. Back then, internet, we didn't even know what that was. Heck, we're lucky. I didn't even have a cell phone. We had smoke signals. I'm not that old, but yes, but we had something where, you had to use a payphone. Most people don't know what a payphone is. So we didn't really have to worry about social media as much back then. We wrote letters, we wrote checks. Today's day and age is everything's technically savvy. You can, transfer money by your phone. You can, talk to one another by social media, whether it's Twitter, whether it's YouTube, whatever the case might be, Zoom meetings. So you have to be more worried about what eyes and ears are on you now, because everything's being taped. And I keep, trying to educate our students to make sure that social media doesn't be your downfall to getting opportunities down the road. And unfortunately, we see that sometimes where a student might post something and it might be just a joke to them, but to others, it would be deemed something really against whatever their race, their social economical, where their upbringings are, or who they are as a person. So it's very hard making sure that students and coaches be very wary of what they put on this social media.
Let's go and follow up with that just a little bit. In addition to COVID this past spring, we saw a much heightened awareness of social issues. And what are some things, you're at a very big public school, middle of Orlando, international city. What are some things that we can do as athletic directors to do a better job with our kids, our coaches, our communities regarding the social issues, social awareness?
Oh, one of this is train them what social media is about, and what there's a lot of positives, and a lot of people dwell on the negatives. A part of it, whether you look at the political side of things, whether you look at personal values in life and everything. But the main thing is to educate them how to use it in a positive atmosphere. It's an incredible recruiting tool. Students nowadays and coaches, college coaches, they use it as such a strong recruiting tool to stay in communication with one another, let them know how they're doing, what things are going on with their daily activities, whether it's just a training routine or something of that nature, or how they did in academics. So we're trying to, in our school, we try to use social media as I don't want to say stepping stone, but a sounding board for letting college coaches know, and hey, this is a student that's out there that has great capabilities, and this is what they've done, whether it's their GPA, whether it's their academic talents, some of their personal achievements within the community. We use it as a community a tool, also bringing up community. When we do community things, we post things, and we let students put their personal touches to it and everything, because I think that's another thing that we lost a lot of value in recently is our community. If we need to address that more and bring it about, and social media is probably one of the best things to do with getting kids out there in front of the community and showing them how to do things, especially in today's society.
Good stuff. Let's shift gears. What are some of your favorite parts of being an AD? What gets you excited about coming to work each day?
Interactions with the student athletes and getting to know them personally, and coaches. I tell people this all the time. I said, if you want to get a hold of me, don't call my office line. I'm hardly in my office. I like to be out and about on the hallways. I'm in the main part of the campus, where would you would call, the center of the campus, where just about every student has to walk by, whether they're getting off the bus, on the bus, going to lunch, going to class. I try to be in the middle of everything. That way, then, they easy to approach, easy to get to know. I'm a very open person. I like to keep like they say, open door policy. And I'm not there to, enforce, a lot of discipline. Not to say that I won't, but if I see somebody doing something wrong, I'm there to be their soundboard if they need some help in anything, whether it's academics, whether it's sports, or anything that might be outside that too as well.
Well, Steve, we've just flown through this interview. It's been great listening to you and how you do things at Dr. Phillips. We always like to wrap up, though, with what we call the Athletic Director's Toolbox. You're certainly an experienced veteran AD now, and you're getting ready to send out a rookie AD. It's going to be their first job, but I'm only going to let you put 3 items in their toolbox. What's going to go inside Steve McHale's toolbox?
All right, 3 things. I'll try to keep it 3. I would say the first thing is, especially with a new one, get to know your staff. Don't be afraid to reach out to them, develop a committee maybe amongst them based on maybe what season sports they are, gender, whatever the case might be. Some people you might have strong interest with and can help you with that. Maybe administrators can help you develop that committee. And within that committee, what we try to do, especially at Dr. Phillips, we develop a family atmosphere where everybody has, the opportunity to get to know one another, and not just on, game days or practice days or anything. We do activities outside of school, where we might go to somebody's house that hosts something, where it's just a gathering. Let's not talk business. Let's talk family. So get to know them one-on-one with that also. Next thing, I would say networking and staff development. Networking. Make sure you reach out to county ADs, other county ADs or district ADs in your area. Get to know them, and don't be afraid to ask them questions. I think it helps them as much as it helps you when you ask them questions, because it reassures what's going on maybe on day-to-day activities. And staff development, get involved with your, and ours is FI AAA and an NI AAA. Get involved in it, whether it's just take a couple classes the first time, go to a conference, get to know people that way too, as well as network them. And then the last thing I would say is don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Uh, you know, I'm not, even though we use, and being military background, I use a chain of command, when we deal with things. But when it comes to being a leader and everything, don't be afraid to show, hey, pick up trash. When you don't know what kind of joy that brings other people that have to not do that. Don't be afraid to pick up a paintbrush and paint something. Whether you got to paint the concession stand. People enjoy when you see you doing things just outside of the daily activity of administrator, whether it's, paint a field, help coaches. You see coaches out there painting the fields all the time. Don't be afraid to go out there and, hey, you want me to hold the string? There's nothing wrong with that. And then, along with that line, be humble. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because you will make mistakes. And then if you do, learn from them, grow for them, and reach out to others how they deal with those issues that might take place.
Great advice, sir. Thank you. Well, Steve, it's been a pleasure visiting with you. Hope reopening continues to go smoothly for your school. Thanks for being on the show.
I greatly appreciate it. And I wish everybody luck, and I know things will be better on the other side.
Absolutely. Well, to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. Come back next time for another edition of the Educational AD.